You say you haven't been the same since you had your little crash, but you might feel better if they gave you some cash. The more I think about it, old Billy was right. Let's kill all the lawyers, kill them tonight. You don't
Well, there he is. Here's E-Tech. Where you going, man? Been a long time, hasn't it? Been a long time.
Oh.
Welcome back, man.
Good to be here, man.
We haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks.
We haven't, you know, with your schedule being out of the office and mine as well, and we need to get back to it.
Yeah, this is once again 2 marks and
One mic or 2 marks, one mic.
what did you want to say? 2 marks, 1
Whatever
mic.
you want to call it.
While I was gone, I saw an article in the paper about pedestrians being hit by cars. It's
Right.
200% increase.
Yeah, and we're on pace in Chattanooga for I think 19,
19
deaths,
19 now.
pedestrian deaths.
To be fair, though, I mean, and this 5 of those deaths are people that were walking on the interstate.
True.
Okay, so number one, you should not be on the interstate walking, or even trying to hitch a ride, right? So I mean,
Well,
and
you know-
really in Chattanooga we've had a slew of those the last 2 or 3 months. It seems like it's just uncanny about people being hit on the interstate, and I don't know why you're walking on the interstate. But I don't even think you're a pedestrian on the interstate. I mean,
No,
you're just a vagabond. You're a hitchhiker. You're you know, somebody that's what is it? A gypsy on the interstate.
Well, one of
Walking.
the point about this, as far as pedestrians, is that
Pedestrians, I think, are around the downtown area.
Yeah, it's very important. The laws are designed to protect pedestrians, and in this day and age, where Chattanooga, as a lot of other cities, are becoming cities that are more walkable.
Right.
You know, you walk from restaurant to bar to movie theater to, you know, different places for entertainment. It's important that drivers keep a lookout
Right.
for pedestrians,
Right.
and that pedestrians need to make certain that they are following the rules that pedestrians
Yeah.
are supposed to follow.
Yeah. And while I was on vacation, we went to several European cities, and there's a lot more foot traffic in these European cities than we have in Chattanooga. But there were specific crosswalks in these European cities with a better method of, you know, knowing when you were supposed to cross,
Right.
and they gave you more time. I think that's very important, that when you are going to cross a street, you look for the crosswalk.
Right, exactly.
And that's very important, because we go back to, if you're out of the crosswalk and you're hit by a vehicle, they can say that you're partly at fault compared to fault for the injuries that you sustained.
That's
So-
right, and that's part of the law structure that's designed to help pedestrians is when you cross the road, you cross on a crosswalk.
Right.
And we see more and more, you know, most crosswalks are at corners, at intersections,
Right.
but we see more and more in busy areas where crosswalks are being created across the middle of the street. Now, be aware, because, you know, in this country, or in this part of the country, we're not as familiar, or drivers aren't as familiar with a lot of pedestrian traffic,
Right.
like a lot of the cities you were in recently.
Yeah.
But as far as being a pedestrian, stay in the crosswalk. Pay attention to the do not walk or walk. A lot of them now with, you know,
Right.
the hands,
Yeah.
the yellow hand or the red hand to stop, and the white hand or green hand when it's
Well,
time to go.
Pay attention also. I mean, how many times have you seen a pedestrian walking with their phone in their face too?
Exactly.
That's part of the problem too. Both the drivers need to put their phones down, but us as a pedestrian, you know, be aware of your surroundings. Don't bury yourself in your cell phone where you don't know what's going on around you. Do pedestrians have the right of way of a car coming toward them on an intersection?
Well,
you know that?
if it's at a time when it's proper for the pedestrian to cross, the pedestrians do have the right of way. But remember this, you know,
Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
You get hit by a
matter
car.
if you're 120 pound or 140 pound or 280 pound or a 300 pound
Right. Yeah.
person. You're still facing a 2-ton vehicle.
Right.
You know who wins that battle.
Doesn't
So
really matter who has the right of way.
Doesn't
if you're
matter.
gonna, you know,
You know,
run you over anyway.
So we really need to, one, you know, pay attention to your surroundings.
Right.
You know, don't bury your head in your phone, facing your phone when you're walking. Make certain you cross
Right.
in those pedestrian friendly areas.
Right.
And make sure, just because it says it's time for you to cross, don't step out in front of an oncoming car.
Right.
One of
Right.
the prime places that comes to mind to me is when you and I walk up to the courthouse. There's a crosswalk right there by the courthouse. We can push a button, the yellow lights flash, cars are supposed to stop,
Right.
and you and I both know that's not always the case.
No,
They'll blow through that. So
So
Even though you have the right of way,
you
be
drive
aware.
defensively, should also walk defensively as
And,
well.
and drivers, we have to remember this: be on the lookout for these pedestrians. Cities are more and more pedestrian oriented, and we need to be aware that there are more and more pedestrians that are
right.
walking the sidewalks and streets every day.
And as a result of that, cities like Chattanooga are designing roadways to be more pedestrian friendly.
Right.
And that's part of preventing also pedestrian injuries, is having a roadway that's designed where you have certain protections between the road and the pedestrian traffic, So be safe out there, everybody. This has been one more episode of Two Marks and
One mic or two marks, one mic.
whatever. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Get over it.